Manalangin po tayo. Dakilang Panginoon Diyos, may-ari ng sanlibutan, pinupuri namin ang iyong pangalan. Kami nagpapasalamat sa panalangin at gabay na ibinigay mo sa amin. Salamat sa panibagong araw na ipinagkaloob mo. Salamat din sa pagkakataon na ibinigay mo upang kami ay muling magtipon para sa panibagong kaalaman. Kami po ay humihiling na nawa po ay gabayan mo po kami sa aming pag-aaral at bigyan mo po kami ng makalangit na kaalaman at lakas upang kami ay matuto. At nawa po ang lahat ng aming matutunan ay magamit namin sa pagtulong sa aming kapwa. Patawarin mo po kami sa aming mga kasalanan at nawa po ang lahat ng aming gagawin ay maging alinsunod sa iyong kautusan. Ang lahat ng ito ay aming sinasamo sa ngalan ng aming Panginoong Hesus. Amen. Magandang araw po sa lahat ng mga estudyante from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, sa lahat po ng mga professors, instructors sa criminology, mga deans, mga review lecturers, sa lahat po ng mga kadete who are preparing themselves for the board examination, sa lahat po ng nakikinig, welcome po sa Bicueno, ang platform po na libre ang discussion, aligned sa TOS, and comprehensive din po ang discussion natin. Finally po mga kadete, this is now the response of your request. Criminal Law Book 2 po, dayuhin natin, bisitahin natin ang Criminal Law Book 2, ang subject na may pinakamaraming tanong sa board examination in as far as CLJ major area is concerned. Ito po ang subject containing the highest chunk, highest chunk sa question sa CLJ. So pag nagre-review kayo ng 1 hour sa Criminal Law Book 1, make sure that you allocate 2 hours sa Criminal Law Book 2. Kasi po, again, dito po manggagaling ang most of the questions. So, this is my simple request. Considering na this subject contains a very wide array of topic, napakarami pong topics dito. We will be discussing all the 14 titles. Rest assured that it's gonna be comprehensive. But my little request po mga kadete is that considering that I will try my best to simplify the discussion, my appeal is posible po tayong aabot ng napakaraming episodes. Yan po ang downside po dito. But rest assured po that I will do my best para po comprehensive ang discussion. So probably we can reach 7 or 8 or probably 9 depending po sa takbo po ng discussion natin. Alright? Now, without further ado, again, let me promote mga kadete yung Bicueno review materials po natin. Kompleto po ito sa lahat po ng subjects sa 6 major areas. Nakakompile na po. Very, very holistic po ang approach sa pagkagawa nito. At this last part po ng libro, andyan po ang question and answer portion. If you want to avail, pag mag-purchase po kayo, andito po yung name ko sa ibaba po ng description ng video. You can chat me personally through Facebook one. I will tell you po kung magkano. But I could give you an assurance na free po ang shipping. Available din po ang PDF copy po nito. On the other hand, sa lahat po ng mga instructors po natin, mga ma'am, mga sir, available din po ang PDF at saka yung PowerPoint presentation sa mga subjects sa criminology program. For this subject po, ang PowerPoint presentation will be available on the last. Sa last na po kasi ayaw ko pong ma-spoil po yung discussion. So, ang PowerPoint presentation po sa subject na ito will only be available pag last na po yung episode. Pero yung PDF po will always be available 24/7, 365 days in a week. Now, okay? Without further ado, mga kadete, mga maman, mga sir, considering na ito po ang may pinakamaraming topiko that we have to discuss, okay? I'd like to go first on the first title of Criminal Law Book 2, particularly on crimes against national security and the law of nations. Ibig sabihin, ito po ang mga krimen na related po sa internal and external security po ng bansa po natin. Unang krimen po under this title is yung tinatawag po natin na treason. Basahin po natin ha. Ang treason is committed by any person owing allegiance to the government of the Philippine Islands, not being a foreigner, levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid or comfort within the Philippine Islands or elsewhere. So ano po ba ang treason? Nakukomit po siya by anybody owing allegiance to the Philippine government. Tanong, ano bang ibig sabihin ng allegiance or katapatan in Tagalog, di ba? When we say allegiance po, ito po ang obligation of fidelity and obedience. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng fidelity? Fidelity means faithfulness, okay? Pagiging tapat. Obedience, yung pagiging masunurin, di ba? Obligasyon sa pagiging tapat at pagiging masunurin po sa Philippine government. Bakit po may obligation tayo na magiging tapat at maging masunurin? Kasi po, yan po ang utang po natin sa Philippine government in exchange po sa protection po na binibigay po ng government towards us. 'Di ba? Ang peace and security, sino ba nagbibigay? 'Di ba ang government mismo, yung protection of lives and property, 'di ba? A government din po ang nagbibigay. So in exchange po sa proteksyon na binibigay po ng government, naghihingi po ang government ng allegiance or itong tinatawag nating obligasyon sa pagiging tapat at pagiging masunurin. Now, ang allegiance po, may dalawang klase po yan, okay? Una, itong permanent, pangalawa, itong temporary. Pag permanent po, ito po ang allegiance na nanggagaling mismo sa mga citizens or subjects ng Philippine government, yung mga Pinoy. Okay? Mga Pinoy, may permanent allegiance po tayo. Sa mga foreigner naman or mga aliens po residing in the Philippines, ang sa kanila po is temporary allegiance. Okay? Temporaryo po na katapatan. Bakit po temporary? Because the moment they go outside, automatically that allegiance could not linger anymore. Kasi po nasa labas na po sila. Pero so long nandito sila sa Pilipinas, dapat po may temporary allegiance. Okay? So again, treason committed by anybody owing allegiance. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng allegiance. Now, sa mga susunod na mga phrases sa definition ng treason, andyan makikita mo ang elements. Okay? Ang elements po ng treason. So, kanina po, nasabi ko na po na ang allegiance could be temporary, it could be permanent. So sa elements, it could be understood na unang elemento po dito is that ang treason could be committed by a Filipino or a foreigner. Filipino na may, of course, permanent allegiance yan. Foreigner, temporary allegiance. Okay? So offender could be a Filipino citizen or an alien resident. Pero ang pagkakaiba po nito, ganito po mga kadete ha, especially yung magti-take ng board examination. Ang treason po can be committed anywhere, even if it is outside the Philippine archipelago, so long as the person who committed it is a Filipino. Ibig sabihin po, mag-i-extend po ang batas po natin outside the Philippine territory pag ang nag-commit po ng treason is Pinoy. Kuha niyo po? For example, if it is China against Philippines, tapos Pinoy ka, pumunta ka ng China, you give sympathy. You advocate the ideologies of the Chinese people. Basically, kahit nasa China ka, may extend po yung batas natin sa China considering na treason po ang na-commit mo. Kuha niyo po? Pero sa mga aliens po, ano tong alien? Si Koki. Aliens ba yung mga foreigner? Yung mga foreigner po, kasi temporary allegiance lang po sa kanila, ang treason po, they can only be liable once they are residing in the Philippines. Kaya nga po, temporary ang nakalagay eh. Temporary lang. Because the moment they go outside, for example, uuwi sila. An American guy uuwi ng United States, tapos nakipagsimpatiya siya doon, nagbibigay siya ng aid or comfort sa Chinese people, tapos may gera between China and Philippines, yung Amerikano is not held liable for treason kasi nga po, our laws will not extend to other countries in as far as a person who is an alien who commits the crime is concerned. Pero pag Pinoy ha, again, I'd like to make myself clear, pag Pinoy, kahit saan ka man pumupunta, you can be liable for treason. Unlike pag foreigner ka. So yun po ang unang element po natin ha. Pangalawa, there's a war and Philippines is involved. Dapat may gera. Ibig sabihin nito, napakasimple po. Ang treason po is a war crime, mga kadite. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng war crime? Nakukumit lang po siya pag may gera. Unang tanong, sino ba ang magdideclare ng war sa Pilipinas? Sa 1987 Constitution po natin, makinig po sa mga nagre-review right now. Sa 1987 Constitution po natin, only the Congress has the power to declare war. Pag nag-declare po ang Congress ng war, o di, gera na yan. Ha? Gera. Pangalawa, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng gera? Okay, in this context. Ibig sabihin ba, gera, for example, INPE versus the Philippines or MILF versus the Philippine government? The answer is no. Ang gera po na nasa context po ng second element does not refer to a domestic war. Ang war po is nation versus nation. For example, Philippines again versus China. It's not Philippine government versus the NPA. Okay? May pagkakaiba kasi sa rebellion at saka sa treason. Sa rebellion, it's basically you, a Filipino citizen, you levy war against the Philippine government while you're staying inside the Philippines. Pero hindi ka nakipag-collaborate sa enemy. Wala pong, ang war po na tinutukoy sa rebellion po kasi is only domestic. Pero ang war po na tinutukoy sa treason, yung nation by nation, country versus country. I hope naintindihan ha. Pangatlo, dalawang pamamaraan sa pag-commit ng treason. Dalawa. Una, Levi's war against the government. Okay? Ibig sabihin ng Levi's war against the government, umalsa ka, nagmo-mobilize ka, nakigyera ka against the government. We will understand later how literary should be committed. Letter B adheres to enemies, giving aid or comfort. Giving aid or comfort. Ibig sabihin, may dalawa pong acts sa letter B. Una, nakipag-adhere ka. Ano ibig sabihin ng adhere? Nakipag-commit ka. Commitment. Nakipagsimpatya ka to the enemies. Pangalawa, dapat nagbibigay ka ng aid or comfort. Alright? So, again, isa-isahin po natin ang dalawang pamamaraan sa pag-commit ng treason. Una, levying war. Ang sabi dito, must be with intent to overthrow the government as such, not merely to repeal a particular statute or to resist a particular officer. So, ang pag-resist po sa isang opisyal ng gobyerno or pag-alsa po in order to repeal or amend a particular law, hindi po siya kasali sa treason. Ang levying war po again, dito po means country versus country. It's not about being a rallyista, gusto mo mag-rally or gusto mo mag-protesta by killing the members of the armed forces of the Philippines in order for the particular anti-terrorism law not to be enacted or not to be implemented. It's not basically treason, okay? So dapat po dito may intent ka to overthrow the government, and yung pag-aalsa mo po, pag-mobilize mo ng gera against the government should be in collaboration with a foreign enemy country. Kaya nyo po? May collaboration yan ha sa foreign enemy country. Pangalawa again, adherence to the enemy and giving them aid or comfort. Sabi ko kanina, dalawa po ang acts dito sa number 2. Una, nakipagsimpatya ka. Pag adherence yan, it could be intellectual or emotional favors to the enemy and harbors sympathy or convictions. Ibig sabihin, nakipagsimpatya ka sa enemy. For example, Pilipinas versus China, sa iyo, you accepted the ideology of why China invaded the Philippines. Okay, nakipagsimpatya ka sa mga ideologies ng ng enemy country. Pero ang pakipagsimpatya po, ang pag-adhere po sa isang enemy country is not enough in order for a person to be liable for treason. Dapat nakipagsimpatya ka at the same time you are giving aid or comfort to the enemy. Kasi pag naka-adherence lang yan, adherence to the enemy, for example, nakipagrelasyon ka sa isang Chinese and you understand the agony or the ideologies of the Chinese people. That is not enough. Adherence alone is not enough for a person to be criminally liable with treason. Dapat ang adherence should be coupled with aid or comfort towards the enemy. So nakipag-adhere ka, nakipagsimpatya ka, nagbigay ka ng commitment to the enemy. At the same time, nagbibigay ka ng support, assistance. That assistance could be something that could weaken the government sa Pilipinas or it could be something that could strengthen the enemy. So yun po, dapat adherence should be coupled with giving aid or comfort. Okay? So, for example, nakipagrelasyon ka sa Chinese. Tapos may gera, China versus Philippines. Question, are you liable for treason? Again, ang sagot, hindi po. Kasi nga po, it requires, number 2, it requires that the adherence should be coupled with giving aid or comfort. I hope klaro yan mga kadete. Okay? Now, para mas maintindihan pa, biniyak-biyak ko na mga kadete para mas very understandable from your end. Para simplified po. Okay? Dalawa again na pamaraan, Livyeng War. May mnemonics po tayo, aulat, aulat. Okay? Sa Livyeng War po, ang elements po nito, offender is a Filipino or a resident alien owing allegiance, okay, to the Philippine government. Na-discuss ko na po kanina kung ano ibig sabihin ng allegiance. Dapat may war. Sino po ba ang mag-declare ng war? It's the Congress alone. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng war or gera dito in this context? Gera po, nation versus nation. It does not refer to local or domestic war. When I say domestic war, for example, NPA versus Philippines. NPA versus AFP. New People's Army versus Armed Forces of the Philippines. It's basically a domestic war. It's not part of the definition under number 2. Okay? Number 3, the offender levies war against the government. There must be an actual assembly of men. Meaning, dapat po makikita na nag-assemble yung mga tao in order to wage war against the Philippine government. And the purpose po is for executing treasonable design by force. Okay? So again dito ang pag-aalsa po dito should be in collaboration with the enemy country. On the other hand, on the second mode, adherence to the enemy and giving aid or comfort. Ang mnemonics po natin is awag. Meaning, allegiance. Letter A means allegiance. May allegiance ka, W, may war na nangyayari, and then may adherence rather. Adherence to the enemies by giving aid or comfort. Okay? Yan po. Kindly remember na yung mnemonics. Awag, may allegiance, may war, may adherence by giving aid or comfort. Yun po ang second mode po sa pag-commit ng treason. I hope naintindihan po mga kadete Now, para mas lalo pong maintindihan ganito po, we have to remember that treason committed in a foreign country may be prosecuted in the Philippines. Ano ang sabi dito? Ang treason po committed in a foreign country, sabi ko po kayo na pwede pong matry, pwede pong ma-prosecute sa Pilipinas. Pero saan po ba ito ma-apply? Ma-apply lang po pag ang person who committed it is a Filipino. Kasi po, permanent allegiance Pero pag temporary allegiance lang, foreigner yan, the moment the foreigner will move out from the Philippines, bumabalik siya sa ibang bansa or sa bansa kung saan siya galing, tapos makipagsimpatya siya doon and he give assistance to the enemy country, hindi po siya liable ng treason because our laws will not apply to him if he is in another country. Pero pag ang foreigner nasa bansa po natin, nagbibigay siya ng aid or comfort or nakipag-Levi war siya against the government, nako, pwede siyang malliable against, malliable for treason. I hope you understand po. Number 2, treason by an alien must be committed in the Philippines. So, yan po ang sabi ko kanina. Number 3, treason is a war crime. Kailan po again makukumit ang treason? During war lang po, ha. Punished by state as a measure of self-protection. Number 4, note, mere acceptance of public office and discharge of official duties under the enemy do not constitute per se. Ano ibig sabihin ng per se? By nature, the felony of treason. Ano sabi nito? Pag binigyan kayo ngayon ng posisyon ng isang ng enemy country or binigyan ka ng responsibilidad to discharge of official duties under the supervision of the enemy, basically it's not treason. Okay? Pero pag ang position is policy determining, for example, isang position sa under the supervision of the enemy, and that position is something that will call for you to enforce a policy against your Philippine government, nako, the acceptance of public office and the discharge of official duties will now constitute treason. Okay? Lagyan natin ng example. For example, ang China. I-appoint ka ngayon as a focal person to distribute assistance. Focal person, ha? So meaning, magbibigay ka ng pagkain. Pagkain lang sa mga sundalo na sa mga sundalo sa gera. Ang pagbibigay po ng pagkain is not something that should be classified as treason kasi hindi po siya policy determining. Pero pag ang position po is about something that would give you the responsibility, for example, a responsibility to plan an attack, a responsibility to kill or to murder mass number of Filipino people, basically, magiging ma-fall po ang act na yan under treason. Next, number 5, to prove treason, there must be, huwag kalimutan, at least 2 witnesses to the same overt act. Dalawa po, ha. Number 6, no complex crime of treason with murder. Wala po kasi po ang murder is already carried over. Okay? Inseparable po siya from treason. So pag during treason, may pinatay ang tao who committed treason, you cannot file a case treason with murder because yung murder po is automatically carried out po in the treason. Number 7, commandeering of women to satisfy the lust of Japanese officers or men or to enliven the entertainments held in their honor is not basically treason. O ito po ang sabi ko, number 7 and number 4 is are basically similar with each other. Nag-accept kayo ngayon ng position, pero ang position mo is just, for example, yung magkakamand ka lang ng women, Filipino women, para masatisfy yung libog ng Japanese soldiers. Nagsusupply ka lang ng mga prostitutes, ng mga Pinay. Question, pwede ka ba liable for treason? Hindi po. Okay? Hindi po liable yan. Pero pag again, ang position mo is something that calls for policy determination or something that could provide responsibility to strategize attacks towards the Philippine government, nako, that could be liable for treason na. Ayan po. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng treason. So huwag kalimutan mga kaditi, ha. I'd like to summarize it para mas maintindihan. It's a war crime. War crime po ang treason. Then, pwede po siya makommit in 2 ways. Number 1, yung Levi's war against the government. Number 2, may adherence ka. Pero pang adherence, ang adherence po should be coupled with the supply of aid and comfort. Giving aid or comfort towards the enemy. Okay? Yun pa ang treason. Number 2, pangalawang krimen under crimes against national security and law of nations. Pangalawang krimen dyan, itong conspiracy and proposal to commit treason. Okay? Now, dalawa ha, conspiracy, pangalawa, proposal. Iba yung elements sa conspiracy to commit treason, iba din po yung elements sa proposal to commit treason. Okay, kinumpara ko na po sa slide, tingnan nyo po. Pag conspiracy to commit treason po, ang elements po dyan, again, una, dapat wartime. Number two or more persons come to an agreement to levy war against the government, adhere to the enemies, and to give them aid or comfort. And number three, they decide to commit it. Okay? They decide to commit it. Ano sabi dito? Tatlo ang elements dyan in time of war. Number two, dalawang tao na nag-agree. Nag-agree sila na mag-alsa against the government. Number two, na mag-adhere sila sa enemy by giving them aid or comfort. Okay. Yung number three element, mag-decide sila na they have to commit it. Automatically, conspiracy po to commit treason. Remember, in this stage, hindi pa nangyayari, liable na po yung tao. Okay? Hindi pa nangyayari. Unlike other crimes, for example, murder, if one person to the other agrees to commit murder, the moment somebody discovered that agreement, automatic, it's not basically liable. You're not criminally liable. For example, ako at si Juan, sabihin namin, patayin natin si Pedro. Basically, that agreement does not constitute murder. Ha? Pero dito sa treason, iba po kasi, the moment there is an agreement between two or more persons during war, that agreement is about levying war against the government or adhering to the enemy by giving them aid or comfort, and the decision to commit it, automatic, patay ka. Liable ka ng conspiracy to commit treason. Number two, proposal. Una, during war. Number two, at least one person who has decided to levy war against the government or to adhere to the enemies and to give them aid or comfort. Number three, proposes its execution to some other persons. Now, ano ba ang pagkakaiba sa dalawa? Sa conspiracy, may agreement sa dalawang tao. Di ba? Sa makikita nyo. Dalawang tao yan, nag-a-agreement. Sa number two na proposal to commit treason, isang tao lang. Isang tao, during war, nagpro-propose ka to the other person na mag-i-execute ka. It's either be adhering to the enemy by giving aid or comfort or by levying war against the Philippine government. Sa number two, yung proposal, it does not need for the second person to agree on the proposal. Kasi pag ang second person mag-a-agree siya to levy wars against the government or to adhere to the enemy, automatic magiging conspiracy to commit treason. Pero for example, si Juan de la Cruz, pupunta siya ngayon ni Pedro, sabi niya, "Hoy Pedro, mag-aalsa tayo against the Philippine government or magbibigay tayo ng aid or comfort against the Philippine government." Tapos hindi mag-a-agree si Pedro, o basically, ang tawag dyan is proposal lang. Proposal to commit treason. Who is liable? O si Juan. Si Juan who enticed Pedro to adhere to the enemy or to levy war against the government. So, sa proposal, isa po yung liable. Dito sa conspiracy, it could be two or more. Pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo. Depende po kung ilan po ang nag-come up into an agreement. Okay? So, notes. As a general rule, conspiracy and proposal to commit a felony is not punishable. Okay? Ito po ang sabi ko kanina. Under Article 8 po, generally, yung proposal to commit a felony or conspiracy to commit a felony is not punishable. Sabi ko po, pag ako, tapos pupunta ako kay Pedro, sabihan ko si Pedro, "Pedro, patayin natin si Juan." Tapos si Pedro will say, "Okay." Yung agreement na yan does not constitute criminal liability. Pero dito po sa treason, iba kasi. Kasi po, exception po ang treason. So the moment there is an agreement or proposal, automatic. Pasok ka ngayon sa conspiracy or proposal to commit treason. Okay? Number two, mere agreement and decision to commit treason is punishable. Okay? Mere agreement and decision to commit treason is punishable. Meaning we say mere agreement, it has not underwent too much planning or rationality. You just decide immediately. Mere agreement is even punishable. Number 3, to witness rule again, not applicable since this is a crime separate from treason. Now, yung sa treason, kailangang dalawang witness. Dito, it does not apply yung two witnesses rule. Kasi nga po, this is a separate crime from treason. Number 4, mere proposal even without acceptance is punishable too. If the other accepts, it is already conspiracy. So the moment hindi ka mga nakapag-execute nag-a-agree ka lang, ha? Nag-a-agree ka lang, automatic punishable na yan. If actual acts of treason are committed after the conspiracy or proposal, the crime committed will be treason and the conspiracy or proposal is considered as a means in the commission thereof. Anong ibig sabihin dyan sa number 5? For example, si Juan, sabihan niya, "Hoy Pedro, let us give aid or comfort towards the enemy." And Pedro agree. And they commit the act of adhering the enemy by giving them aid or comfort. Question, ano ba ang krimen? Conspiracy or proposal to commit treason or basically treason lang? So in that scenario po, ang krimen lang po is treason. Pag na-commit na, if the proposal or agreement is executed, na-execute na. Ano ang proposal? Proposal to commit treason. Yung proposal has been executed, automatic. Ang pag-execute dyan is automatically treason po yung krimen. For example again, sabi ngayon ni Pedro, "Hoy Juan, let us give aid or comfort to the enemy." Tapos, pumunta sila sa enemy and they did give aid or comfort. In that case, wala nang proposal, wala nang conspiracy to commit treason. But the crime now is basically treason. I hope naintindihan po. I'm trying my best mga kadete to make you understand as much as possible. Next, punta naman tayo sa tinatawag nating misprision of treason. Ano ba itong misprision of treason? Every person conceals. Anong ibig sabihin ng conceals? Tinatago niya. Does not disclose. Pareho lang din po. Tinatago niya. Hindi niya ipinag-alam. And make known the same as soon as possible to the governor or fiscal of the province or the mayor or fiscal of the city in which he resides, as the case may be, shall be punished as an accessory to the crime of treason. Ibig sabihin, pag may alam ka, okay? May alam ka about treason. May alam ka about somebody who wanted to commit it. But then again, you do not disclose it to somebody. That somebody could be a governor, a fiscal, a mayor, or a fiscal of the city in which or in where you reside. Where you reside. Fiscal of the city where you reside, automatically, ang punishment mo po is equivalent to the accessory of the crime of treason. Okay? So, ang krimen na misprision of treason is basically having the same amount of penalty with the accessory of the crime of treason. Both ipasabot in Cebuano or in Tagalog, ang ibig sabihin dyan, ang punishment imposed is accessory to treason, however, the offender is still a principal to the crime of misprision of treason. So, ano ibig sabihin ng principal? Siya mismo yung nag-commit. So, principal siya sa misprision of treason, pero yung penalty niya is equivalent sa accessory to treason. Kuha niyo po? Principal siya sa misprision of treason, pero yung penalty niya is yung equivalent sa accessory sa krimen na treason. Okay? Klarong-klaro po yan. Now, question. Ano ba ang pinagkakaiba ng misprision of treason at saka sa treason lang? Okay? Now, dalawa pong basihan. As to offender and as to acts punished. Pag sa offender po, pag misprision of treason yan, automatic offender is only a Filipino citizen. Filipino citizen lang. Pero pag treason yan, ang offender could be a Filipino citizen or an alien. Okay, klaro yan ha? Pag misprision of treason, sino yung liable? Yung offender na Filipino citizen lang. Pero pag treason, pwedeng alien, or pwedeng foreigner, pwede yung Filipino citizen. So, ibig sabihin dyan, pag yung Amerikano may alam that somebody will commit treason, tapos he did not disclose it to the authorities, hindi po siya liable under misprision of treason. Kasi foreigner siya. Pero pag Pinoy, alam mo na may tao na mag-commit na treason, hindi mo pinag-alam sa mga authorities, patay ka. Misprision of treason yan. As to acts punished, sa misprision of treason, concealment or failure to disclose of a conspiracy to commit treason. Pero sa treason po, levying war or adherence to the enemy and by giving them aid or comfort. So, kaya nga po, ang failure po ng isang Pinoy na hindi po mag-disclose ng information about treason is basically an omission. When you say omission, it's a responsibility that you failed to perform. Responsibilidad po natin kasi na i-inform po yung authorities pag somebody wanted to commit treason. Okay? Notes. Crimes doesn't apply if crime of treason is already committed and it is not reported. Ibig sabihin, klaro yan ha mga kadete. For example, si Juan at saka si Pedro, they decided to commit treason and they executed it. Tapos ikaw, si Maria, may alam ka that they planned it at the beginning. The moment that the act of treason has already been perpetuated or na-commit na, na-consummate na, na-execute na, tapos hindi ka pa nakapag-report, considering na na-execute na yan, wala ka na pong criminal liability. Meaning, yung krimen mo, yung misprision of treason, will no longer apply. Kasi po, na-execute na eh. Na-execute na. Pero pag hindi pa na-execute yung treasonous act, hindi pa na-execute, tapos may alam ka, but you did not disclose your knowledge to the authorities, patay. Misprision of treason. Pero again, I'd like to make myself very clear, pag na-execute na yung treasonous act po, wala na pong criminal liability under misprision of treason. Okay? Next, again, it is a crime of omission. Yung sabi ko kanina, bakit omission? Because that is your responsibility and you failed to do. Ang definition po ng crime is acts or omissions that violates the law. Acts, yung external performance po natin, yung omission po, yung mga responsibilidad natin na hindi po natin ginampanan. Responsibilidad natin to inform everybody to inform the authorities about the treason, but we do not disclose it, automatic omission po. Next, misprision of treason is a crime that may be committed only by the citizens of the Philippines. Again, klarong-klaro na yan. Pabalik-balik na lang. Pag ang foreigner, di po sila liable dyan. The essence of the crime is that there are persons who conspire to commit treason, and the offender knew this and failed to make the necessary report to the government within the earliest possible time. Blood relationship is always subservient to national security under Article 20. Under Article 20, it does not apply. The provisions of Article 20 does not apply here. So, anong ibig sabihin ng subservient? Ibig sabihin ng subservient, hindi siya magagamit, hindi siya mai-apply. So, for short, you cannot say that, sir, yung husband ko, tsaka yung biyanan ko, they plan to commit treason. Tapos alam ko yan. May filial po kasi, may privileged communication po tayo, sir. So dapat exempted po kayo. Exempted po ako under privileged communication. Again, hindi po mag-a-apply dito yung Article 20 pag misprision of treason po. So kahit husband mo yan, and you have the knowledge thereof, sabi dito subservient. Blood relationship is always subservient to national security. Pag national security na ang pinag-usapan, nako, hindi yan mag-a-apply. Okay? You cannot say, I have the knowledge about this, that my husband will commit treason. Pero again, Your Honor, exempted po ako sa misprision of treason kasi husband ko kasi yan privileged communication. Patay. Di pwede because it is not applicable. Kuha po, mga kadete. Pag national security po ang pinag-usapan. Next, under the RPC, there is no crime of misprision of rebellion. Misprision of treason lang po ang meron. Okay? So, yan po. I hope naintindihan po mga kadete kung ano po yung misprision of treason ha. Sunod, punta naman tayo sa tinatawag nating espionage. Okay? From the word spy, spying. Okay? Spying po. Ano bang espionage? Any person without authority thereof, wala kang authority, nag-i-enter ka sa warship, sa fort, or naval or military establishment, or even reservation to obtain any information, makakuha ka ng plans, photographs, or other data of a confidential nature relative to the defense of the Philippine Archipelago. Or number 2, disclosing by public officer of confidential information to a foreign representative. Okay? Dalawa po dyan ha. Dalawa pong pamamaraan. Una, yung anybody, wala kang authority, pumunta ka sa warship, sa port, sa naval or military, tapos ang purpose mo is pagkuha ng impormasyon relative to the defense of the Philippine Archipelago. Pero pag pumunta ka lang, tapos hindi ka nagkuha ng kahit ano-ano, pumunta ka lang, bumisita ka lang. Is it espionage? Of course not. Number 2, public officer ka, tapos nag-disclose ka ng confidential information sa isang foreign representative. Okay? So again, sino yung liable dito under the first mode? Pwedeng Pinoy, pwedeng alien, or pwedeng foreigner residing in the Philippines. Sa second mode, ang liable lang is a public officer. Okay? Public officer lang. Note, treason is committed during wartime, pero ang espionage, pwede siyang makommit both in wartime or peacetime. Okay? Pwede siyang makommit peacetime, pwede din makommit ang espionage during wartime. Now, ang anti-war tapping is not basically espionage if the purpose is not connected with the defense. For example, nagwa-wiretap ka sa communication ng isang tao that will run for government, tapos he is communicating with the general, tapos ang communication nila is about selling the votes or buying the votes. Basically, it's not connected with the defense. So in that case, ang pag-wiretap po is not part of espionage. Pero pag ang communication, President, saka yung Secretary of Department of National Defense, ang communication nila is about the defense po sa Pilipinas, tapos nakiki-wiretap ka, patay ka ngayon. That is basically espionage. Mahulog po siya sa espionage. Pero pag hindi naman related yan sa defense, that's okay. For example, Hello Garci case. Do not tell me that you will file espionage. No, it's not. It's under anti-war tapping. Okay? So, yun po. So, pwede again siyang wartime, pwede siyang peacetime. Okay? Espionage po. So, again, ano ang purpose? Under the first mode, pupunta ka ng warship, pupunta ka ng fort or naval or military establishment or reservation kasi po kukuha ka ng mga plano, photographs, or any documents related to defense. Number 2, na mode, public officer ka, tapos nag-disclose ka ng confidential information to a foreign representative. So, for example, pag senador ka, pumunta ka sa China, tapos you disclose confidential information about the defense sa national security ng Pilipinas, it's a very grave crime. It's a form of espionage. Okay? All right. Next. Okay, next po. Let's go to inciting to war or giving motives for reprisals. Okay? Dito po, offender performs unlawful or unauthorized acts. Such acts provoke po or give occasion for a war involving or liable to involve the Philippines or expose Filipino citizens to reprisals on their persons or property. Okay? Now, ibig sabihin, from the word inciting, when you say inciting, you wanted to provoke the other country to come into war or you provoke the other country for reprisal. Okay? Di ba sa internet, Nagba-viral ito, I think last year, yung pinupunit po yung flag, di ba? Pinupunit po yung flag from the other country. We will talk about it later, ha? O, sa example, Sa example, X burns Chinese flag. If China bans the entry of Filipinos into China, that is a form of reprisal. Bakit po nagagalit kasi yung mga Chinese people? Imagine, flag nila, pinupunit mo. That will call for reprisal, and China might respond by saying that we have to ban all Filipinos from entering mainland China. So, basically, it's part of what we call as inciting to war or giving motives to reprisal. Under the example below, it's giving motives for reprisal. Okay? Note, ang krimen po na ito is committed during peacetime. Intent of the offender is immaterial. Ibig sabihin, no need to prove may intent ba or wala. In inciting to war, the offender is any person. If the offender is a public officer, the penalty is higher. Reprisals are not limited to military action. It could be economic reprisals or denial of entry into their country. Posible. In economic reprisal, lahat ng produkto made in China will be withdrawn. Hindi magpapadala ang China sa form of reprisal. So yan po, that's economic in nature. So ibig sabihin po, sa krimen po na ito, gumagawa ka ngayon ng isang act that could call for war, or something, an act that could call for reprisal from the other country. Okay? Sunod. Or probably pupunta ka ngayon ng West of Philippines Sea. Out of anger, barilin mo ang Chinese Navy. That's something that could incite war. Am I correct? That is something that could incite war. Next, violation of neutrality. Anyone who, on the occasion of a war in which the government is not involved, violates any regulation issued by competent authority for the purpose of enforcing neutrality. Kasi pag nagigera na, for example, Pakistan versus Israel, Ukraine versus Russia, responsibilidad po natin na Pilipinas is to remain neutral. Huwag po tayo makikisali. Ano bang meron sa atin? Nako, we do not have enough amenities. We do not have enough military weapons to combat against enemy countries. Yung Hague ruling nga hindi natin mai-enforce. Sasali pa tayo sa mga giyera na yan. Of course, we do not have the capacity. Economically, in the economic terms or probably in the militaristic level, wala po talaga ang I'm sorry talagang walang-wala po tayo. Hindi po tayo makikisali. Ang dapat po natin is only to maintain neutrality. Okay? Pero pag magdagyera na yan, hindi tayo involved, tapos nagbibigay ng regulation yung Pilipinas para ma-enforce yung neutrality, tapos ang isang Pinoy, nag-violate siya in such regulation, whatever regulation is given by the government, automatically, that person is liable for violation of neutrality. For example lang po ito For example, there is a war between country 1 and country 2. Tapos ang sabi ngayon ng Pilipinas, wag kang mag-a-advocate sa ideology sa kahit sinong bansa na involved. Okay? Yun po ang policy. Example lang po yan, Example lang po. Yun po ang regulation na ini-enforce ng Pilipinas. Pero nag-a-advocate ka sa ideology ng isang country na involved sa isang war. So basically, you are violating the regulation being issued by the government. So it's basically a violation of neutrality. Okay? Alright? That's the other crime is correspondence with hostile country. Okay? Correspondence with hostile country. Ano ba ang correspondence, mga kadete? Pag-correspondence po, ibig sabihin dyan, communication. Di ba? Correspondence. These are communication. Communication, it could be in the form of letters, or it could be anything. Pwede siyang email, pwedeng whatever form of communication. So, any person who in time of war shall have correspondence with the enemy country or territory occupied by enemy troops shall be punished. Okay, ang elements mo dito, may war and Philippines is involved. That the offender makes correspondence with the enemy country or territory occupied by the enemy troops. That the correspondence is either prohibited by the government or carried on in ciphers or conventional signs or containing notice of information which might be useful to the enemy. Ang sabi po dito, ang correspondence is, posible pupunta ka doon kahit prohibited yan. Or carried yung mga ciphers, yung mga cryptographic messages. Or maybe conventional signs that will portray meaning to the enemy. Or even giving information that could be useful to the enemy that could be correspondence with distal countries. Or, ibig sabihin, nagdadala ka ng letter. Ang contents ng letter is information about sa weakness ng Pilipinas or about sa weakness ng isang country. Basically, it's a correspondence with hostile countries. So again, it is also punishable. Okay? Even if the correspondence contains innocent matters, if the correspondence has been prohibited by the government, it is also punishable. Take note of it, ha? Even if the correspondence contains innocent matters, meaning it is not related to anything, probably it's just a love letter, pero pag prohibited by the government yan, punishable ka pa din. Okay? Pag sabi ng government, huwag kang pumunta doon, huwag kang magbibigay ng letters doon. Gusto mo magbigay kasi andun yung crush mo na Koreans. Tapos may war between Korea and Philippines. So, in that case, correspondence with hostile country po. Next, flight to enemy country. Any person who during war owing allegiance to the government attempts to flee or go to the enemy country when prohibited by competent authority. Ang pinagkaiba po nito sa correspondence, yung correspondence, nagbibigay ka ng communication, nagbibigay ka ng letters, ciphers, whatsoever. Pero itong flight to enemy country, pumupunta ka. Okay? Pumupunta ka sa enemy country and you have been prohibited to visiting or to going in that country. You are prohibited in going in that particular country kasi nga enemy. So, sino ba ang liable? Number 1, Filipino citizen. Number 2, alien residing in the Philippines. Okay? So, alien po na nag-reside sa Pilipinas, pupunta sa enemy country could be liable. Flight to enemy country. Notes, mere attempt consummates the crime. Ano yung sabihin ng mere attempts? For example, sumasakay ka ngayon ng barko. Pupunta ka pa lang, nagbibigay ka pa lang ng ticket para mapunta ng enemy country, automatic consummated na yan. There must be prohibition. If there is none, even if one went to the enemy country, there is no crime. Kasi walang prohibition eh. If there is no law, there is no crime. An alien residing may be held guilty for this crime because an alien owes allegiance to the Philippine government, albeit temporary lang. Pero pag umuwi yung Amerikano, for example, war against China versus Philippines, ang Amerikano na nag-reside ng Pilipinas, umuwi sa Amerika, of course, there is no flight to enemy country. Pero pag pupunta siya ngayon ng China, in that case, liable siya. Okay? So, yun po. Next, piracy in general and mutiny on high seas. Okay? Ito mga kadetihan, lumabas ito sa board examination. Allow me to read the slide. Any person who on the high seas ang nakalagay I think everyone is already familiar with the principle of territoriality. Balikan natin yan later. Shall attack, or number 2, seize. Seize a vessel, or not being a member of its complement, nor a passenger shall seize the whole or part of the cargo of said vessel, its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. Biyakin po natin para mas maintindihan po. O na, ano ang pagkakaiba ng piracy at saka yung mutiny? Ang piracy po is a form of robbery. Robbery or forcible depredation on the high seas. Saan mangyayari ito? High seas. without lawful authority and done with animo furandi. Ibig sabihin, yung intention po sa pagnanakaw, intent to steal, and in the spirit and intention of universal hostility. So, ibig sabihin nito, piracy po is a form of stealing. It's a form of robbery. Animo furandi, intent to steal. And in the spirit and intention of universal hostility. Ibig sabihin ng universal hostility, ang piracy po is a crime against all humankind. Universal po yan. Mutiny, on the other hand, is just an unlawful resistance to a superior or the raising of commotion and disturbances on board a ship against the authority of its commander. For short, pag piracy, outsider ang nagko-commit. For example, sa Somalia, ang mga Somalian people pumupunta, nag-seize ng vessel, it's piracy. Pero pag ikaw, pasahero ka or crew ka ng barko, tapos nag-alsa ka against the commander, against the captain of the boat, basically, it's not piracy, but it's rather mutiny. Okay? Next. Okay, para mas maintindihan pa din po, ano ba ibig sabihin ng high seas? Balik tayo sa territoriality. Ano sabi ng territoriality? Ang one of the characteristics of the criminal law, that the law shall only apply within the territorial limits of the country. Question. In terms of maritime zone, saan po ba mag-a-apply yung batas ng Pilipinas? Within 12 nautical miles lang. Territorial sea po ang tawag dyan. Lahat ng internal bodies of water, whether it could be rivers, lakes, swamp zone, and so forth, automatic within the jurisdiction of the Philippines po. Lake, rivers, falls, yan po, automatic under po yan sa internal waters po ng Pilipinas. May jurisdiction po ang batas natin. Pero pag dagat na po ang pinag-usapan natin dyan, ha? From the baseline po, count po tayo ng 12 nautical miles. Tawag po natin dyan, territorial sea. Ibig sabihin, yung batas po natin mag-a-apply po dyan. Now, from the territorial sea, mag-count tayo ng 200 nautical miles. Under po siya sa tinatawag nating exclusive economic zone. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng exclusive economic zone? Ibig sabihin dyan, under the UNCLOS law, ito po yung area na may maritime right ka pong maghanap buhay. For short, pag i-easy mo yan, 200 nautical miles, Pinoy ka, pwede ka makapagpangisda, makapag-livelihood in that area kasi po may maritime right po tayo dyan. Okay? Pag 200 nautical miles. Beyond the 200 nautical miles, count mo ha, una, territorial sea, 12 nautical miles. Then from territorial sea, mag-count ka ngayon ng 200 nautical miles. That's exclusive economic zone. Pag nakaabot na ng 200, paglagpas ng 200, ang tawag dyan, high seas na po. Okay? Dyan mag-apply yung tinatawag nating English rule. Diba sa Criminal Law Book 1. Pero I will not discuss more on it kasi it will take a lot of time. If you want to know about it again, refer to Criminal Law Book 1 na discussion. So high seas po, parts of the sea that are not included in the exclusive economic zone, not included in the territorial sea, or in the internal waters of the state, or not included in the archipelagic waters of an archipelagic state. Okay? So yun po. Ibig sabihin ng ISIS ha, yung beyond 200 nautical miles, beyond the exclusive economic zone. So saan po ba mangyayari ang piracy? Ang piracy po, kahit saan yan. Pag nangyari yan sa high seas, ha? Pag nangyari yan sa high seas, pwede yan. Pwede yan sa Pilipinas po, i-trial or i-prosecute. Okay? So, again, Philippine waters, all bodies of water such as but not limited to seas, gulfs, bays around, between, and connecting each of the islands of the Philippine archipelago, irrespective of depth, breadth, length, or the dimension, and all waters belonging to the Philippines by historic or legal title, including the territorial sea, ang seabed, insular shelves, pati na yung submarine areas, blah, blah, blah. As long as na-involve siya or na-contain siya sa 12 nautical miles po. Okay? Next, jurisdiction. The jurisdiction of piracy, unlike all other crimes, has no territorial limits. Okay? Pareho yan sa treason. Yung treason po, pag committed by the Filipino, pwede siyang mag-extend to other countries. So, Ang piracy po kasi or ang pirates considered po sila na hostis humani generis. Ano ibig sabihin ng hostis humani generis? Ibig sabihin, crime against all mankind. So, crime against all mankind. Ibig sabihin nito, the person, the pirates could be punished by any competent tribunal of any country where the offender is found or where the offender is carried out. For example, pupunta ka ng Somalia, not pumunta, but you travel, and you pass by Somalia, and then you have been captured by the Somalian pirates. Pag-capture ng Somalian pirates, let us say for example, magre-respond yung Philippine government kuno. Magpapadala yung government ng helicopter, magpadala ng yung pinaka high-tech natin na uh, navy vessel. For example lang. Let us just say by miracle po na-rescue po yung mga Pinoy at the same time na-capture yung mga Somalian pirates. Considering na nangyari yung krimen sa Somalia and it's outside the jurisdiction of the Philippines. Ang sabi po dito, pag piracy po yan, pwedeng dalhin mo yung mga Somalian people dito sa Pilipinas and dito mo po sila i-trial or i-prosecute. Bakit pwede yan? Pwede po kasi nga po ang pirates are known as hostis humani generis or crimes against all mankind. Or piracy is hostis humanis generis. When we say crimes against all mankind, the piracy is a crime that only violates the laws not only of one nation but to the laws of every single nation worldwide. Okay? So yun po. So pwede. Pag nakidnap ka ng Somalian na pirate, dalhin mo yung Somalian pirate dito sa Pilipinas, dito mo i-trial yung tao. Pwede ba? The answer is yes. Kasi piracy yan eh. Next! Piracy in general and mutiny on the high seas. Okay, ito po ha. Unang mode po, attacking or seizing the vessel. Ina-atake mo yung ship. Una po dito, the vessel is on the high seas or in the Philippine waters. Offender may be complement or passenger. Ibig sabihin ng complement, mga kaditi? Ibig sabihin ng complement, ito yung mga tao na nasa vessel, pero may mga duties sila that could relate to the operation of the vessel. Okay, tawag sa kanila complement. So they are not basically part of the direct crew, but they are workers also inside the vessel and their duties is related to the operation of the vessel. Yun po, mga complement po yan. Offender could be a complement or passenger of the vessel. The offender attacks or seizes the vessel and there is intent to gain. Yan po ang unang mode in attacking or seizing the vessel. Pangalawa, seizing the cargo. Ang pag-seize ng cargo po, the vessel is on the high seas or Philippine waters. Offenders are neither members of its complement nor passengers of the vessel. There is intent to gain. So in the second mode po, pag mag-seize po ng cargo, ibig sabihin dyan, yung mga offenders po is not a passenger, not a complement, not a crew, but outsiders po. For example, Somalian people will seize the cargo. Somalian, basically not a passenger, not a complement, not a crew. So basically, nailagay po siya sa pangalawang mode. Pero sa attacking or seizing the vessel, attacking or seizing the vessel, it's basically within. It could be a member of it could be a complement or passenger of the vessel. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan po, ganito po ha. Piracy in general and mutiny on high seas, ito po ang difference. As to the attacker, pag piracy yan, stranger of the said vessel. Ibig sabihin, yung outsider. Pero sa mutiny, members of the crew or passenger. Okay? Members of the crew or passenger ang nag-commit. Sa intent to gain naman, pag piracy po, dapat may intent to gain na mapakita po. Intent to gain na makuha nila yung mga cargo. Pero sa mutiny, hindi po kailangang mayroong intent to gain. Okay? Hindi kailanganing ma-establish yung intent to gain. The moment na you rise up against the commander or the captain of the vessel, automatic, pasok ka ngayon sa mutiny. Okay? Next, qualified piracy, mga kadete. Malapit na po tayo ha. Qualified piracy. Ang mnemonics po natin is FAMHPR. BFAMHPR. Yun na lang. So, B dapat po sa element is may boarding or F or firing upon the same. Ano ang the same na tinutukoy dito? Itong vessel. May boarding tapos nag-fire ka. Then, letter A, abandon. You abandon the pirates, abandon the victims without means of saving themselves. Then M, pwede pong yung krimen ng piracy is accompanied by killing somebody, murder. H, homicide. P, physical injuries or rape. So pag nangyayari yan, it could be pumunta, nag-board yung mga pirates, tapos nag-fire ng gun, tapos it could either be they abandon their victims without means of saving themselves, pasok siya sa qualified piracy. Or number 2, may pinatay or may ni-rape or even physical injuries, automatic, pasok po sa qualified piracy. Okay? So yun po. Note po, although Article 1, 2, 3 merely refers to qualified piracy, there is also what we call as qualified mutiny, mga kadete. Ang qualified mutiny, pareha po ng elements when the offender abandoned the victims without means of saving themselves or when the mutiny is accompanied by rape, murder, homicide, or physical injuries. Okay. So yon po ang crimes against national security and law of nation. Nasa isang title pa lang po tayo. Okay? Pero I hope mga kadete, I'm really trying my best na as much as possible simplified po ang lahat po ng discussion po natin. I hope you get something out of this discussion, out of this review. Maraming salamat po for advocating the BQueen sa platform po natin. And God bless po sa lahat po na mag-take ng board examination. Punta po tayo sa episode 2 up until natapos po natin ang lahat ng topics sa criminal law book. Maraming salamat and God bless everyone.